this time, we'll call our meeting to order. I ask that we stand for our invocation and for our pledge. To our great Creator, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for all the wonderful opportunities you have presented to us. We welcome you into this meeting this day to have your way. We ask that you lead us and guide us on the path that we should follow, that we will make this city the best that possibly could be, while representing each and every citizen with equal opportunity to have access to all the goodness that this city has to offer. We welcome you again into this meeting. Please have your way. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, we have before us the agenda, and I would like to ask if there's no objections that we move resolutions number 2024-16 and resolution number 2024-17 forward on our agenda. We do have a recipient here to receive those resolutions. Are there any objections? So moved. Well, we're going to do a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All right, the resolution will be moved forward. At this time, we also have approval of our minutes from April the 8th, 2024, regular meeting, and minutes from April the 16th, 2024, special meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Let it reflect that it has passed. Next, coming before us, we have honors and recognition. First, we have service recognition, and
Sandra Hanna, 20-year recognition. Sandra Hanna began her second tenure with the city of Florence on May 24th, 2004. Sandra was originally hired in 1990 as a member of the Park Division, where she obtained her commercial driver's license and subsequently transferred to the Streets Division. Sandra transferred then to Utility Finance Division as a meter reader and progressed then to a customer service representative. Sandra later accepted a position with the City of Florence Police Department as a dispatcher and later served as a victim's witness advocate. In 2003, Sandra left the city to pursue other career opportunities. So she returned to the City of Florence in 2004 as a meter reader in the Utility Finance Division. In 2006, Sandra took the opportunity to move back to the position of customer service clerk, where she was responsible for the quality review of meter readings, coordination of reread verifications. In April of 2019, Sandra transferred to the permitting licensing division as a permitting and licensing clerk, where she assists customers in the completion of business licenses and building permit applications, and collects receipts of business license fees, hospitality fees, and building permit fees. Sandra is well known for her demonstration of excellent customer service skills, and we thank her for her many years of service with the City of Florence.
Thanks, sir.
and next we will have before us coming for educational recognitions.
Yeah, I'd like to recognize Mr. Dominic Henry. Hey, well, Mr. Henry here, unlike Ms. Sandra, he's a relatively new employee. He's been working with us for about 5 months now, but he's done a lot in a very short amount of time. He's passed his E-level, D-level, and most recently his C-level water treatment license through South Carolina LLR. So,
Very good.
So once LLR has a chance to evaluate his college education credentials he's got and his experience working here with the city, they'll be issuing him his actual C-level license, which means he can independently operate our water plants here for the city of Florence. So, we're definitely really glad to have him. He's, high energy, eager to learn, and he's been great to have around. So thank you.
Congratulations.
Michael, I did not see you stand up for that applause. I was expecting you to lead the charge.
And at this time, I will ask that we move forward and call our Spring 2024 City University graduation in order, and we will recognize at this time Miss Amanda Pope.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's my pleasure today to introduce our Spring 2024 session graduates from our city university. I keep thinking it can't get any better, but every group does. It's just been so exciting and fun to be with a group of folks who are so interested in learning about the city, what we do, and we've enjoyed this group so much. So we'll start with each graduate. When I call your name, please, if you would come up with the mayor, she'll hand your certificate, and if you'll just stay up front so we can get a group picture at the end. Janet Ballou. Monisha Bell. Janice Bogan. Siobhan Crowell. Samson Hines, Lavita Smith Jordan, Kit Lowry, Burlove Metellus, Donna Tisdale, Deborah Walters, Cynthia Warnix, and Jimmy Worthy. And this is our 2024 class from our spring session of City U graduates. Real quickly, I'll share with those of you who may not be familiar with City University. We started this last year. In 2023, we did a spring and a fall session, and then this is our third session. Each session is 6 weeks long. We meet once weekly, and participants have the opportunity to visit the various departments, hear from those department directors about city operations, ask questions, see some of our facilities. It's a great learning opportunity if you do have an interest in how your city functions, and it has been a great project that we've done with the public, and we've had wonderful participation with each class. So thank you all.
Thank you, Amanda. And thank y'all for creating such a wonderful outreach. And at this time, we had elected to move our resolutions forward. So at this time, we have resolution number 2024-16, a resolution to proclaim April 2024 as Organ Donation Awareness Month in the city of Florence. And do we have a motion?
So move. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? At this time, I will ask that Amanda reads this into the record, giving them time to depart here.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Resolution number 2024-16, a resolution to proclaim April 2024 as Organ Donation Awareness Month in the city of Florence. Whereas organ donation is a selfless act of generosity that saves and improves the lives of countless individuals suffering from organ failure, providing them with a second chance of life. And whereas the city of Florence, recognizes the critical need to raise awareness about organ donation and transplantation to inspire more individuals to register as organ donors and make their wishes known to their families. And whereas April is nationally recognized as Organ Donation Awareness Month, providing an opportunity for communities across the country to come together and educate the public about the importance of organ donation, dispel myths and misconceptions, and celebrate the gift of life through organ transplantation. And whereas by promoting organ donation awareness, we honor the generous donors and their families who've made the compassionate decision to give the gift of life, as well as the transplant recipients whose lives have been transformed by their generosity. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Florence hereby proclaims April 2024 as Organ Donation Awareness Month in the City of Florence and encourages all residents to learn about organ donation, register as organ donors, and discuss their wishes with their families. Resolved this 13th day of May, 2024.
You've heard the reading of the resolution. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that resolution number 2024-16 has passed. Next, we will have the reading and resolution number 2024-17. Do we have a motion?
So move. Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Amanda, would you please read it into record for us?
Resolution number 2024-17, a resolution to proclaim May 2024 as Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month in the City of Florence. Whereas cystic fibrosis is a genetic disease that affects the respiratory and digestive systems, leading to life-threatening complications, and whereas cystic fibrosis is chronic and progressive condition that impacts the lives of thousands of individuals and families worldwide, requiring lifelong medical care, treatments, and support. And whereas the City of Florence recognizes the importance of raising awareness about cystic fibrosis to promote understanding, compassion, and support for individuals living with cystic fibrosis and their loved ones. And whereas May is nationally recognized as Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month, providing an opportunity for communities to come together to increase awareness, raise funds for research, and support individuals and families affected by cystic fibrosis. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Florence hereby proclaims May 2024 as Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month in the City of Florence and encourages all residents to join in raising awareness about cystic fibrosis and supporting efforts to improve the lives of those affected by this disease. Resolve this 13th day of May, 2024.
You've heard the reading of the resolution. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that the resolution has passed, and I'm going to ask the recipient to please come forward. We have a representative. The first one is the resolution which will be recognizing April as Organ Donation Awareness Month. So thank you, first of all, for bringing this to our attention.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to get you to hold this. And next, this will be our resolution to actually recognize May 2024 as Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month. Thank you again, and I want to present this to you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to ask that you come forward and present yourself and give a little bit of history on why this is so important.
Okay.
You come back.
My name is Peggy Hawkins. I want to thank Mayor Irvin and the council for having these resolutions. They are very dear and near to my heart. My middle son, Stephen, had cystic fibrosis, and it is a disease that unfortunately there is no cure at this time. And in 2015, he had to make the decision to have an organ transplant, double lung, and of course he said he was going to do it for us, and we told him, no, you need to do it for you. And in 2016, he was accepted by Duke and received his double lung transplant on August 10th in 2016, and did fairly well. Unfortunately, we found out in December of 2019 that he was in organ failure, chronic organ failure, and there was nothing they could do. And those are the two worst words, let me tell you, that any parent could ever hear. It affects the whole family, but Stephen was a bright light in our family. Of course, he was the middle of our three sons. He was only 29 years old when he passed away in 2020, and one of his goals was to promote organ donation and cystic fibrosis awareness. Unfortunately, that did not happen, but my goal is to do that, and especially about organ donation. Stephen told me that if he had to have a second donation, receive a second transplant, that he did not want to have that because he wanted somebody else to have a chance since he already had his chance. And it is a wonderful thing, and I'm forever grateful to his organ donor, and family for the unselfish gift that any human being could ever give. And it gave us 3.5 more years with Stephen that we wouldn't have had. Unfortunately, was not enough, but I'm grateful, and I'm accepting these in Stephen's memory, and hope that people that will consider, if you're not already an organ donor, looking into it and doing it and making sure your family is aware of it. And like I said, it was just a Band-Aid for the CF, and hopefully they're very close to a cure, but unfortunately it's not quite there. They are living a lot longer with cystic fibrosis due to the medicines and advancements, but unfortunately we're not quite there yet, and it is a disease that unfortunately does not get federal funding, and a lot of people do not know about it. So again, in Stephen's memory, I plan on doing that. And again, I thank Mayor Irvin and the council. I'm sorry, I'm very emotional. Yeah. It's something that I really appreciate you doing, and I know Stephen's looking down from heaven today, and he's smiling that we're doing this and recognizing, because like I said, this is something that was near and dear to his heart that he wanted to do, among other things, and unfortunately did not ever get to do this. So I really appreciate it. Thank you again so very, very much. Thank you.
I'm actually, Ms. Peggy, please stay. I'm going to ask you to stay forward. I'm going to ask that would you please explain to everyone the colors that you're wearing today and what that represents?
Yes. Well, first, this is a picture of Stephen after he had his transplant, and he was so happy and so excited because he had been on oxygen 24/7 prior to getting his transplant. And his oxygen level actually at transplant was like at 10%, which is, as you know, was nothing. And anyway, the teal and green are for organ donation, the colors for organ donation, which was, again, last month. And then the purple, which happens to be my favorite color, so it worked out really well, is for Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month. So, and these are the awareness ribbons. And of course, like I said, this is a picture of Stephen in very happy times. So, appreciate it.
Thank you so much for that. And I do want to say that being a mother to another mother, thank you for coming forth for speaking, not only for your child, but other children who are also there. So I truly appreciate you, and I truly appreciate the times that we've gotten to speak.
Thank you.
And know that my heart is with you, and as well as my prayers. Thank you for continuing on for Stephen so he can speak for others, so that his legacy can continue to save other lives. At this time, I'll recognize Councilman Jabali.
Our heart's with you,
Thank you.
completely and totally with you. And I just want to commend your courage,
Thank you.
because it takes a lot of courage to come up and to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
But the fight is obviously, absolutely, and completely worth it, and I know that, and I commend you for your carrying on that fight on his behalf.
Thank you.
Certainly you have our support, and you have our love.
Okay, I appreciate it, Councilman Joe. Thank you very much. And I was going to just say one other thing that Stephen did, and unfortunately I didn't find out till after, but he was very pro doing research at MUSC when his CF doctors would ask him, oh, we've got this, and his goal was to make it better for other people. Unfortunately, it also helped along his disease progression with some of them, but he was all about giving to others, and he was very selfless. He was like his grandfather, who was very selfless and gave a lot to the community. So I'm very proud of him. Miss him dearly, but I'm very proud of him, and I know where he is, and we will be together again one day. But I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for allowing me, and thank you for the kind words, because it is a difficult thing to do.
God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this time, we will proceed with our agenda as outlined. Next, we have appearance before council, and we do ask that each person who gives notice to speak may be limiting their time to 5 minutes to their presentation. And this is according to our ordinance from section 2-24. At this time,
Madam Mayor.
I'm gonna give them a moment to, did you?
Yeah, I wanted to make a motion that we add Greg Hendrick to the list of appearances before council on the addendum.
Second.
You've heard the motion to add an addendum, correct, to have Greg Hendrick to speak before the council. What is any discussion? Could we have a first and a motion and a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Mr. Hendricks will be added to the agenda. All right. So at this time, we did have requesting to come before the council was Pastor Henry Beatty, and due to some things family-wise, he may or may not be able to appear, and I do not see him at this time. So we will move forward with our agenda as outlined. We had Mr. Woody Swink, who was planning to be before council, but I believe that he has withdrawn his request to be before council. So next, we'll move to C. We have Ronaldo Samuels, Vice President, and Ron James from the Youth Tennis Program to speak to the council on ways to use recreational tennis to promote community engagement and civic participation. Please come forward.
Well, thank you all for your time here today. My name is Renata Samuel. I have the pleasure and honor of serving as the Vice President of the Ron James Tennis Youth Program. And I am here to let you know that tennis is more than just a sport that's played on the court. We want to promote tennis in the city of Florence as both a community and civic and economic engine within the community. So I'm here to say we want to be here with you and work in partnership as we grow Florence. You know, when we think about tennis and the benefits of tennis, not only do you have the health benefits, not only do you have the mental health benefits, but when we speak economically, we want to let potential employers that are coming to this area know that we have a healthy workforce. Tennis helps promote that. So we want to be at the table having those discussions. For the community members that we already have here, we want to encourage them to come out, to get involved in community and civic engagement. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting everyone to come out and be a Serena Williams. I'm not myself, but I like to pretend. But just coming out and volunteering, coming out, rubbing elbows with one another, learning what your neighbors are doing, that has nothing to do with your skill level, but it's promoting engagement. It's promoting community involvement. And so I personally have a 10-year-old daughter, and we both enjoy the Ron James Youth Tennis Program. We're not going to talk about the level of our tennis skills because that's not what it's about. But with my 10-year-old daughter, what I've seen is an increase in her confidence, her social skills, her ability to engage. It's phenomenal as a parent, as a community member. So we're here to say, let's use tennis as an economic engine, as a community development engine, and as a civic tool to promote engagement amongst our community members.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Renata. You have all seen my friend Ernie and me before. We're here primarily because we want to thank you for this proclamation. It was actually issued last month and signed by our mayor, but basically this follows a national trend and names this month National Tennis Month in Florence. And we greatly appreciate the proclamation. We greatly appreciate the support. We appreciate everything that this city has done to make Florence a tennis hub. We're going to do our part, and we sure know that you will do yours, and we're very grateful. Arnie?
I'm usually not at a loss for words, so I won't won't speak too much today, but again want to thank you for this lovely proclamation. Now I know the difference between a proclamation and a resolution. I did the same thing last year and I got a resolution. This year I got a proclamation. Next year we'll be back in May. Mark your calendars. We'll have a resolution next year. But again, it's all about tennis, what the Florence Tennis Association does for the community. Ron James Youth Tennis Program is affiliated with the Florence Tennis Association. The mission of the Florence Tennis Association is to grow tennis. USDA has a new mission now that really talks about the health benefits and the community building benefits of tennis. So we want to continue to ask for your support so we can continue to grow tennis. I know we're excited. We've got some things that might be happening at Levy Park. We want to be partners with you to help make Levy Park a tennis attraction in the city of Florence. And then I have one more ask for each and every member of council. I'd like you to join the Florence Tennis Association on Saturday, June 1st for lunch. We're going to be hosting the 40 and over adult state league tournament in Florence that day. We'll have probably over 1,000 tennis players in Florence that weekend. We provide lunch on that day. So I'd really like you to come out so you can see that economic impact firsthand. You'll turn the corner and you'll see the parking lot will be filled. Parking lot filled, grass filled, and people will be there playing tennis for 3 days at the end of this month into early June. So please mark your calendars. Come out, join us for lunch. It's on me.
I would ask that with that invitation, would you please send that to Ms. Casey Moore?
Yes.
And she will be sure to send that out to each one of the
Be
council
more
members.
than happy to do that.
And so, and also, it's good to have you back before us again, and I will give you credit for one thing. You make sure y'all keep tennis before us.
That's right. That's right.
And that's great because you're a good advocate for it. And also, I think that's added to the award-winning, personality of the tennis center. And it's because of dedication from citizens such as yourselves. So we thank you for that. And at this time, I'll recognize the Councilman Jabali.
Ernie, I just want to make sure that our 2 under 40 members of council can also be included. Because it's a 40 and over, I don't want them to feel excluded.
Oh, no, everybody can come out. Everybody come out. In fact, we're going to be introducing a new form of tennis actually it's Friday after 5 on May 31st. So if you're down there, stop by and see us. We're going to be playing what right now they're calling adult red ball tennis, which basically is using the red balls that are lower compression that don't bounce as high. We're going to have a demonstration set up, and we're going to introduce that. So for people that might not want to run the entire length and width of the tennis court, this is going to be much more compact. Kind of like another sport that's become real popular lately.
At this time, Chair recognizes Councilwoman E. Smith Jackson.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I definitely support this. I appreciate y'all bringing this to our attention and keeping us on here. Ms. Renata, I'm definitely going to come out because, like you, I'm not the Serena Williams, but I do want to definitely support and learn tennis. It's the not 10 years off your life for me.
Yeah.
That's the part for me, the healthy part of it. And I never thought about it as the economic health part of it, and that is beautiful. Because we definitely want to keep our community healthy, want to keep everybody healthy. So thank y'all so much. I will see y'all June the 1st. What time is lunch?
11:30.
Since it's on you, I will be there.
All right.
But thank y'all so much for constantly bringing this to us, letting our community know the importance of tennis and how it plays a vital part in our lives. Thank you so much for that.
Chair recognizes Councilman Smith.
Glad to see you again. Congratulations, not on just receiving the proclamation, but the grant to establish tennis in the Levi Park area. I know we've talked several times, and me and Councilman Jabali and the community in East Florence and Levi Park, we look forward to partnering with you where we have something new to come and to hopefully bring tennis for a long time to come in the Levi Park area. So thank you again for all that you do. And I will also be there as well on June the 1st.
Okay.
If I may, let me respond to a couple of things that just opened up for us.
And I'm going to ask that,
First,
since
the mention of Levy
I am going to
Park.
ask that you contain it to probably 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay, it won't take long.
All right.
The mention of Levy Park. Let me give you an update on that. We have, working with Parks and Recreation, initiated classes there. They are for the kids enrolled in the after-school program. Our hope is that we will continue during the summer at that location. We're definitely going to be working with Parks and Rec with the summer camps during the summer. And of course, when the school year starts next year, and we want to have an even bigger and better program at Levy Park. Secondly, the idea of coming out to play tennis, just let me tell you that the next Ron James Youth Tennis Program Saturday Fun Day is this coming Saturday from 9 to 11:30, and it's open to anybody who wants to be there. And we do lessons, games, have a lot of fun, and have refreshments. We do them approximately twice a month, and if somebody will give us the word as to how to get the schedule out to you guys, we'll do that. But please, come out automatically. Now, if we're rained out on Saturday, we shift to Sunday afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And as well as how you're doing outreach, I do want you to revisit, it's been several years back when the Parks and Recreation removed the tennis court from the Northwest Center, that one of the things that was discussed was having the opportunity from the children who may be a part of the centers who do not have a tennis court to actually have transportation to go out to the tennis center. So I would ask that you look at revisiting that while this process of getting tennis courts are set up in the community. Revisit that thought and see how we can work on that. Thank you so much for all that y'all do.
Next thing, one more thing, and this is for Councilman Kipper. On Sunday, before Memorial Day, we've discovered that a lot of our Hispanic population goes to Levy Park on Sunday to gather. So we're going to do a tennis event at Levy Park on that Sunday, specifically targeted at those folks that come and visit the park. So trying to be extremely inclusive in what we do for tennis.
Thank you so much, and y'all keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Next, we have an appearance before council will be Mr. Greg Hendricks. We ask that you please come forward at this time.
Thank you again. I'll be brief. I know I'm a late add-on, but I'm Greg Hendrick, and I know most of you through my role as an attorney with Finkley, Hendrick, and Blake. But I'm here today in another capacity. When I leave the office, when I finish up at the office, this time of year I go and I coach my son's Little League team. Sometimes I'm not finished at the office, unfortunately, but that's another story. But we've had kind of a reoccurring issue that's very concerning to the parents out there this year. And to the children, of course. But unfortunately, you know, and I'm talking about the Eddie Floyd Tennis Center and baseball facility that you guys constructed for us, and it's wonderful, it's beautiful, and of all the things that City Council and the City of Florence does, that's one of the things I'm most thankful for, because it's such a great bonding experience for me with my son and for other parents out there, and just for so many children in the community that I might not ever have any other contact with, and I'm really thankful for that facility and what you've done there. But the issue that has arisen this year is during our games 4 different times it backs up to a residential area, and we've had shots fired. We've had shootings out there. I don't know if they were shooting at somebody or just shooting just to shoot or what it was, but it's happened 4 times to us. And I talked with in preparation for this, I've talked to the umpires and other coaches and stuff, and it seems to have happened a couple of times every week. I mean, it's a reoccurring thing. And I didn't, blast this discussion today out on Facebook or bring a bunch of people in here because I feel like it's something you all will be genuinely concerned about. And just like if there's an issue in my office, I don't know if somebody doesn't tell me. This last time that it happened was the worst because before every game we meet at second base, both teams, we line them up and we talk about sportsmanship and having a good game, and we say a prayer. Before we could do this last time, the shots started, they fired 15 to 20 times, and we had to lay all those kids down out there like we were in a war zone. It was awful. Some of them, were tearing up and stuff, and there's already been discussion among some of the parents about not coming back. We've spent as a city so much money out there in that area, and I don't want to see that kind of thing, put a stain on it. So, and I talked with T.J. Joy, and I think a member of council had talked with Chief Heidler. I can't say enough good things about our law enforcement here, and that residential area that it backs up to is split between city and Canton County, and as they always do, I know they'll work together, but I also want you guys to be aware, whatever resources they need and whatever we need to do to, work with that community and work with law enforcement, whatever we need to do to put a stop to that. I don't know if there's some option for some type of, when I do subdivisions and things, we talk about buffers and things of that nature. There's already a tremendous amount of excess dirt where a pond was built out there. And I think as long as it was done in such a way that these guys say it wouldn't create more of a problem, maybe there could be some kind of buffer put there, not only for benefit of stopping bad stuff like that, but also maybe some benefit to the neighborhood for noise control and things like that. That dirt really needs to be moved anyway. It's a big hill and it's growing grass. It's a place for snakes to hide and a child to fall off and break their arm or something. So it really needs to be, some things need to be done anyway. It needs to be landscaped and beautified, and I think that would be, just one more benefit to it is if there is a bad person there that's firing off rounds, that maybe it would at least be something to stop, because I'm just fearful that if we put our heads in the sand, something that's happening every single week, if we put our heads in the sand, I won't say it, but something really, really bad could happen in our community, and we certainly don't want that. So I thank you for y'all's time. I genuinely appreciate you, and I thank you for the time to speak.
I'm going to ask that you remain, and I'm going to ask for our chief and for our sheriff to please come forward to maybe speak to the combination of work that y'all do together. Could y'all please come forward and speak to that?
Absolutely. First of all, Greg, thank you for being here today and bringing this issue forward. Again, we want to know every time that there's a situation like this taking place, because obviously firearms and shooting the firearms causes us grave concern too. I can tell you that the sheriff and I work together on a regular basis, and I think I've told you this just a little while ago, but we have a violent crime task force, but we're also working together on this specific issue singularly. We'll have our officers working together out there. We have the schedule of when events are going to take place, and we'll make sure that we're out there. We've already made quite an impact in that area, because crime in that area has come down significantly. But that doesn't matter when there's shots being fired periodically. Doesn't matter if it's 20 times a day or 3 times. But we have made significant impact, and on that particular night, we got a number of phone calls from residents in that area. So and they were trying to pinpoint the location for us. So it wasn't just calls from the folks that were in the stadium. It was the residents who are gaining trust of law enforcement in that area, because they see us there working together and working to build a better relationship. I can tell you that wasn't probably 15 to 20 minutes after that, our officers made charges against a 15-year-old who was on the street on probation. He was in possession of a stolen firearm, and he was charged with being in possession of a stolen firearm and unlawful possession of the firearm. But he was on the street, he passed his curfew, and then it was a short time after that that we also determined that he had been coming from that area. So we don't know that if he was actually the one shooting, but we think, or that there were multiple people shooting, but we think that he was involved in it. So our officers were, I say that to say that our officers were right there, and we were on top of it and searching the area and checking it. They heard the shots too. So anyways, all I can tell you is that the sheriff and I will continue to work together. He's committed to have one of his specialized units out there, and we will have additional officers at the same time.
Right. And nothing about me being here today is critical of you or anybody with the city whatsoever. It's just to bring forward that this is going on, and it sounds like you're already aware, but it's a very important thing, and I appreciate you guys.
We met on this issue right after it happened, and came up with this game plan, and this is how we're going to work it, and hopefully we can reduce this to 0.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Sheriff George, do you have any comments?
I would like to say this. If there's any doubt or any question about us working together as a team with the city of Florence, this is Florence County too, and my men and women of that office will be. I'm gonna have 2 teams out there. When you called me Thursday morning, the chief and I met that day, and we had this plan put into place. But just know, I don't know how many of you in here have my cell number, but I'll make sure you have it prior to leaving today, because I care and the chief cares. Your problem is my problem. And this chief and I go way back, but the men and women of this office, the street crime unit and criminal enforcement unit, they will be out there. You know, a lot of people don't know the volume of calls that we receive, and I say we, the city, Florence and Florence County, we average anywhere from 230 to 280 calls a day. That's on a busy day now. Not every day is that, but we've addressed this, and I give you my word that we're going to be there. I can't promise you they won't shoot, but when they shoot, the only shooting that's going to occur is the bad guys, and if we get there and they shoot at us, then they're going to get shot. Right. Okay? We're going to do what we got to do to take care of business, bottom line. Anybody got any questions for me?
Okay, Chair recognizes Councilman JaVale.
First off, Greg, thank you for your bringing this to attention, not only to our attention, but most importantly, to the attention of law enforcement, both city and county. And also commending Chief Heidler, Sheriff Joy, commending y'all not only for this particular incident and working together, but your past history of what you've been doing, because the goal is to make Florence the best community that we can be, the Florence County the best county we can be, and your example of collaboration is exactly what we need to see, and I thank you for that. I do have a question, Chief Adler, about the cameras that we approved. Is that something that might be beneficial here? What are your thoughts? Is that something that can be put in place? And I don't know myself personally how all that is working, and if you can enlighten us and then see, is that an opportunity to us to do something?
Yeah, those are tag reading cameras, and we are getting hits off of those things continuously. Last night, we had an officer who noticed a vehicle that had just hit for being stolen, and it was stolen out of another jurisdiction. He was able to stop that vehicle. Other officers were able to get it in the area. They got 3 individuals out that had full face masks, ski masks, and weapons on them. So they were in Florence from another location, not in Florence County or Florence City.
And they did not have good intentions.
And their intentions were not good. But you can see the benefit of that because they did not have good intentions. We would not have known until their crime had been committed, and we were able to thwart whatever it was that they were thinking about doing. We're getting those types of alerts on a regular basis: stolen tags, wanted persons, fugitives, and it is extremely beneficial. We have some that are in that area and some that are going in close to that area.
Okay.
We have 5 more to put up. We have 25 of the 30 cameras up.
Well, that was what I was wondering. Thank you very much. And again, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson.
First of all, I want to thank Mr. Gregg for speaking up and going the way that you did. I received a call from Coach Jeff Davis. I guess he's a coach in one of his kids.
On the other field.
Yep.
That happened. That's correct.
Yes, and he explained to me the severity of it, how the kids were really terrified and traumatized by this. And I'm freaking out, like, what? Because no kid should ever feel that way and feel that they cannot be safe where they play recreational ball at. So I immediately got on the phone as well, because I know they had a game that same night when Mr. Davis contacted me. And I'm like, we got to keep these kids safe and make sure. And I applaud Heidler and Joy. Thank you guys, because, you know, I'm ready to have meetings, how we going to get this done, and to know that you guys are already on it. I appreciate you guys for being proactive. Unfortunately, we have to react to this, but being proactive going forward is of course my biggest thing. And I'm the biggest advocate for public safety. So keep doing what you're doing. I commend you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Dear to my heart, when I first got on, right after COVID, crime increased, and we called for a town hall probably 3.5 years ago. I think
This is Councilman McCall.
Thank you, and again, Greg, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Again, I came on council right around COVID, so I remember the sparking crime. But again, it's getting better, but one gunshot is too many, especially when we have our kids involved. So I commend you for bringing this to our attention, and to Sheriff Joy and Chief Holler, y'all cooperation together is what this county and the city need to make sure everyone feels safe. A question I do have is kind of what is the plan more so? Is it every practice as well as every game, or is it just every game? How many officers can we commit to have out there? I know it's kind of a shortage on both sides.
Depends on how much money y'all allocate.
Well, and here's the thing, and we as a city, we're definitely looking at improving that area even more. So, and I'm talking about the sports complex. But to me, what's the purpose of doing that if we can't make sure that our kids are safe? And I know you all are fighting for that. So again, I want to make sure our kids are safe, and that's why I'm asking that question about what is the plan. I know it's probably preliminary now.
Now, what we have done already is the schedule has been sent to my office. We have at least 6 units assigned to the streets behind there where the shooting, I think, Carver, that's one of the streets in the back there. So those streets, we're gonna have them on those streets. Now the practice, I don't have a practice schedule. If you do that, I can get some more. I think it's happened mainly during games.
Yeah, and the season's kind of winding down right now, so this is a great time to, have
Well, we
a plan
probably
going
need
forward.
to
That's
make sure next year, the season, get with us and we'll get the schedule. But I have an easy fix because my street crime unit and our criminal enforcement unit, they work an evening shift. So I can have them out there until the game's over and clear and make sure nobody, we're gonna make sure, I'm gonna inspect what I expect, but I'm gonna make sure they're out there in place for those games.
And that's in addition to additional city officers will be
And
out there in
county,
that area, and our violent crime task force who works that area frequently.
Okay, so are the officers going to be in the area as well as the complex, or just patrolling? I'm confusing that part.
Yeah,
They
we'll
both?
be patrolling both, but mostly in those areas where the gunshots have been heard this entire time.
I want to, excuse me to interrupt, we're gonna have a unit there in the park Friday, with the streets behind there, like the chief said, where they're shooting, we're gonna have units there, stationed there. Because that's where the problem's coming.
Okay.
And
Thank
I feel
you.
like the residents
Chair
of the
recognize-
community probably are just as concerned about it as we are, so if y'all are there close by,
We've done a lot of work, like the chief said, with our street crime unit in that area. Done good, but this, like I say, these young kids, they get out, they get the gun in their hand, and get happy shooting, so we're gonna be on top of it.
Well, I can end on this note here. I again applaud your all's efforts on it. If there's anything that council can do to further this along, I think this is that area, the Northwest community, as well as the sports complex, get immense amount of priority, at least on my behalf, to make sure that we have the resources necessary to make sure our kids and our communities are safe. So thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilman Smith.
Greg, thank you for letting us know. I don't want to say the correct way, but not blasting on Facebook, but actually coming to us, but not also coming to us to complain, but also with a solution that we could actually work on. That means a lot to this council to know that you're not just, letting us know, but you actually have a solution that we could actually work on.
I
And
don't feel worthy to stand here with these two guys, but that's all I can do. And, give you a solution and make you aware, so.
But to Chief and to Sheriff, I thank you for acting so quickly. From one coach to another, I had a similar situation throughout my season, and I can tell you, Chief and the Sheriff were right on top of it. It happened in another jurisdiction, but every game that we had since then, my fans and my players and my parents felt very safe. So I do trust that they have come with a right plan of action to keep everyone safe in our facility. So again, thank you to both of you guys, and thank you for coming. And that's what happens when partnerships work, and with the city and the county as with the community as well. So thank you again.
Any other comments? If not, in my closing, I would first like to acknowledge, thank you, Greg, for coming forward, but I'm going to especially have to acknowledge our chief and our sheriff. I believe it was the year of 2021 that we sat down at the tennis center to talk about the partnership. Also met Councilwoman Pat Gibson-Highmore was on council at that time as well, when we met together so that we could address the issues of the spike in crimes, of bringing the community together to bring input so that we could decrease the numbers. And I think that that's what we're seeing now, that partnership that was formulated even prior with y'all two coming together, then with us meeting in the original historical West Florence area. And when I look at what's occurring today, I'm glad that this happened, because I believe we're one Florence. And no child should have to ever feel intimidated by gunshots. Those gunshots that you're hearing these past couple of weeks are not the first gunshots. There are children who lost their lives. There was a young man, 17 years old, got killed on Philadelphia Street, right from that area too. So I firmly believe that when something happens anywhere in Florence, everyone should be concerned. When someone's child is affected by it, everyone should be concerned. So I think about the children who are at that game, but I think about the children who live in the community who have to deal with gunshots, the children who have to live when a family member is killed. This is not new. But what I'm glad about is that finally, like Martin Luther King said, when something happened anywhere, it should affect all of us. So I'm thankful, Greg, that you came forward. I'm sorry that this happened, but this has been happening in the communities year after year and months after month. I think back when Officer Mack told me, probably about 10 or 15 years back, he stated, you know what, the individuals who are coming out for incarceration, when they're released, they're coming back, especially in the District 1 and District 2. So this is what we're seeing now. I'm sorry that it took this to get all the players to the table, but everything happens for a reason. I believe that over the years that we have supported both law enforcement, and you know for me, I'm always in the corner, because I believe the strength comes from the community working with law enforcement. There has to be that relationship, just as the residents called out that night, that's what we need. People have to call in and say what's going on. So this is not a new action. I want to commend both of you. This has been going on for years with y'all working together, and I thank you. And I know the community members thank you because you come out to the community meetings. So, Greg, thank you for coming forward to let everyone know that anything, when it happened anywhere in the city of Florence, it affects all of us. But I think that this is a point now where this ongoing partnership that we have is now going to be lifted up, and everyone throughout Florence will see how important it is for us all to work together. No political agendas, nothing to move forward, except for the safety of all of our community members throughout the whole of the city and the county. Thank you to all three of you gentlemen for being here today. We truly appreciate it. Thank you.
May I would ask a favor, if you would?
Yes,
I know
sir.
about all of y'all have my cell number. If
Yes, sir.
anyone out here would like it, please give it to me.
Okay. If you want to give it out, you're welcome right now if you want to. However you
I
choose.
don't know if y'all got something to write with. My cell number is 843-687-4857. I'll leave a few cards here on the podium now.
Thank you. And I'm gonna tell y'all now, he will answer. And if he doesn't answer right then, it's because he's tied up solving something for us, but he will return his calls.
He particularly likes 3 o'clock in the morning.
I can definitely attest to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it. Thank you, council, for your input. We appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
So at this time, we will move forward with our agenda. That concludes our appearances before councils. Now we'll go to our public hearing. So at this time, I'm going to declare our public hearing open. It's a public hearing that will be held to receive input on the City of Florence fiscal year budget number 2024-2025. If there's no objection, the public hearing is now open. Anyone who chooses to speak is welcome to come forward. At this time, I'll recognize Mr. Kevin Rollison.
Thank you, Mayor. The 2024-25 budget has been prepared. This is information about property tax rates. We are not proposing an increase in millage this year. Currently, through Act 388, as you're all aware, there's a limitation of what we could raise millage to. Right now, the state has only released the CPI portion of that. We had a 4.1% increase in CPI. It would allow 2.6 mills. Later this month, they'll release the population growth. So our millage will remain at 64.1 mills for operating, 4 mills for debt service, so for a total of 68.1 mills. And our proposed budget over all of the budgeted funds is $131,760,000. And the larger funds, the general fund is $51,417,500. Hospitality is $6,619,000. The water and sewer fund is $49,864,500. And the stormwater utility fund is $1,807,000. And then the smaller funds is the construction, the utility, water and sewer utility construction fund is $19,015,000. The stormwater construction fund is $541,000. And then the water and sewer equipment replacement fund is $1,477,000. And stormwater is $325,000. And that's all I have for.
All right. There's no one signed up to speak in the public hearing, so at this time, we'll call the public hearing to close. Thank you. Next, we'll move forward with our agenda. Ordinance in position. First, we have Bill Number 2024-08 for second reading. It's an ordinance to rezone a portion of 186 Dumbarton Drive from CG to IL, identified as Florence County, tax map number 00099-01-020. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, like sign. Let it note that this bill has passed second reading. Next, we have Bill Number 2024-09 for second reading. It's an ordinance to annex and zone NC-614 lots along Rosemont Drive, identified as Florence County Tax Map Number 00152-01-146 and 00152-01-147 and 00152-01-148 and 00152-01-149. Do we have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that bill has passed second reading. Next, we'll move forward with our introduction of ordinance. Next, we have Bill Number 2024-10 for first reading. It's an ordinance to raise revenue and adopt a budget for the city of Florence, South Carolina for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024, ending June 30th, 2025. Do we have a motion and a second? At this time, we'll have discussion. We'll call upon Mr. Kevin Rollinson.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
All right, so the FY25 manager's recommended budget. Again, this is the same slide, it's $131,760,000. We talk about property tax. Again, our millage is 68.1 mils is what is being proposed. You can see the gold colored bar is the city of Florence. We're of the selected municipalities on this slide, we are third from the lowest, with Mount Pleasant and Aiken both being lower than the city of Florence. And this is the gross property tax, so this is the actual 68.1 mils. If we factor in the local option sales tax credit, that puts our effective millage at 24 mils. So they're assessed and then charged at 61.8, but then they get a credit back off on their property tax from that local option sales tax. They're effectively paying 24 mils out of their pocket. We're second to the lowest, with easily being the lowest, lower than us. And so this is the general fund, the highlights of the general fund. The general fund is $51,417,500. Property taxes, we're estimating to be $14,698,600.
which we're looking at about a 1.6% increase for growth in the property tax value. This is a reassessment year, so sometime in late May, early June, the county assessor will send us the new property values for the city of Florence, which time we will do some calculations to determine what the new millage rate will be based on that. The purpose of readjusting the millage rate is so that the city does not have a windfall because the property taxes go up, or the property values go up, and we leave the millage the same, we'll have a huge increase in taxes. And the state requires us to lower the millage so that when we look at the 2023 taxes and the 2024 taxes, that they will be effectively, we'll get the same money. Business license, that's license and franchise fees, $17.6 million. Of that, almost $7 million is the current business license, which is what we've just collected through April, and are still collecting those who haven't paid yet. And that's about a 9% increase. And then the transfers is the third largest of our revenue group, and the majority of that is $4.6 million from the water and sewer fund and $2.2 million from hospitality. Let's see. So the expenditures for the general fund, again, is $5,417,000. You'll see that, of course, public safety represents about 40% of the expenses. That would be police and fire. After that is general government, which is everything else that is not listed in this list. Recommended budget for the enterprise funds, which consists of the water and sewer fund and the stormwater fund. The total is $51,671,500. And you can see the current charges, which is going to be the water and sewer charges, is about $47.2 million. The stormwater service fees, about $1.7 million. And the rest of it are miscellaneous revenues with, we do show the water and sewer taps at $1.5 million. And then the expenses there, you'll see the breakdown on the expenses. And that is the summary of the budget for FY 24-25.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilman JaValey.
Kevin, thank you for that. I would ask our city manager, Scotty, if you would come up, because I do have a couple of questions. Broad questions. Number one, as I understand it, the directors, when they gave you their wish list, that it was not this number.
It was not.
That the wish list was of what they felt like they needed was a lot more. Is that right?
That is correct. We had about an additional $8.4 million in the general fund of request and about $2 million in utilities. So total about $10.4 million we had to cut to make this budget balanced.
And so despite everybody's best effort to try and tighten up when they gave you their request, we still came about 10 million short.
That's correct.
Okay. However, the budget that you're presenting now, it says here, I just want to be sure that I'm reading it correctly. It says here, an ordinance to raise revenue. Let's be clear, because I think our audience that's paying attention, watching at home and all, they want to know, are we raising revenue? So are there any new taxes?
There are no new taxes on it. When you're raising revenue, once you, if council's will, to adopt this budget, you are in essence adopting what is presented, which would be the current millage rate. But there's no new taxes.
Okay, so there's no new taxes and no...
And yes, and correct, and it is only good for this year.
And there's no new fees for this year?
No, it's not.
Okay, so no new taxes, no new fees. All right, y'all heard it. Just want to make sure we're clear on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilman McCall.
Yep, and I just want to congratulate you. This is your first budget as city manager. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So I want to congratulate you on presenting your first budget. I think everyone was kind of pleased with 95% of it. That's doing well. But again, I want to commend the entire staff as well as yourself on presenting us the budget with no new taxes. Again, I think we're, although the city is growing, and this is going to require us at some point in time to make tough decisions. At this point, we are not raising taxes, and looks like the city is progressing well. So again, just want to commend you and Kevin and the rest of the directors for presenting us with a balanced budget and something that we can all work for, building a better Florence. So thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. And I have to talk about the staff. It certainly was a team effort. They worked very hard to present the budget and certainly gave up a lot of wants and even some needs in that, understanding the bigger picture is to get that budget balance. So they worked very hard, and I really have to appreciate them and all the efforts that they took, and certainly Finance Department as well.
Sound like a politician. Good job.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson.
Thank you again for this balanced budget. And even though it seemed like we had to cut some things, I want everybody to understand public safety is still our top priority, and we're not cutting back on public safety. That is going to be the biggest thing. So we're still on track with growing Florence and our budget and public safety, but we had to cut some other stuff, and I really commend the staff as well for taking those cuts, but still ensuring that we have a balanced budget and a secure Florence.
Certainly. I would again speak to public safety, fire, and police. We certainly put funding in there. That's been something that this council has pushed forward for several years, and we continue to hear that. We're able to add some police vehicles in there, equipment, training, as well as some fire trucks there with $6.5 million. So this council has done a great job in funding public safety.
Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Barnes.
I too want to just commend you and the staff. I really enjoyed that retreat. I really did. It put all of us on the same team. We realize we're not saying, you're just trying to take all of the money. We're really in this thing together, and we left, I think, a new team, and I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilman Jabali.
One last thing, would you mind speaking briefly to what we're able to do for the city employees? Because I think we're able to give them a raise. And even despite not being able to fully fund everything, I think one of the priorities along with public safety is making sure that our city employees are taken care of. Would you speak to that, please?
Certainly. Thank you. We can't provide services without our staff. That's really the backbone of this city is our staff. They work tirelessly hard in every department, and they're all important. And we were able to put in this budget an increase of 4% for a COLA, a cost of living increase, and a 2% merit increase for staff in there. We're also able to look at bringing some of our employees that were paid at a lower level, much lower level than others, bringing them up to about $15, which is really a livable wage for the city of Florence.
Well, thank you so much for that, Scotty, and thank you to all the staff. Just to everybody, thank you very much for what y'all do.
Thank you so much.
Is there any other questions or concerns from the council? Well, there's no need to say anything in additional. Scotty, and to the staff, thank you for not only this year, but every year that y'all work so hard. And I always say that y'all are the lifeline for the city every day, 24/7. So we thank you for all that you do. You make some of the hardest choices there is to bring this information to us. So we appreciate your services. Thank you and congratulations on doing what you do every day. We appreciate it. So at this time, we will move forward with a vote here. We had the resolution, which was bill number 2024-10. It was for a first reading. We had a motion and a second, and we just said. That's what I'm doing now. So we've had a motion and we've had a second. We've completed discussion. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. please let the record reflect that Bill number 2024-10 has passed first reading. We've already moved forward with our resolutions. We took the items, resolution number 2024-16, resolution number 2024-17, were addressed at the beginning of our meeting. Next, we will move forward with resolution number 2024-19. It's a resolution to amend the City of Florence CDBG budget fiscal year from 2023 to 2024. Do we have a?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. At this time, we are here from Mr. Dudley.
Thank you, Mayor. We originally, or council originally adopted the fiscal year 23-24 CDBG budget on May 8th of last year, and originally $25,000 was allocated to No One Unsheltered. However, they've been unable to perform the services of their contract within this fiscal year. Therefore, that leaves $25,000 to be reallocated. We did hold a public meeting on April 17th. And we also received community input through some of our neighborhood meetings. And staff, after taking all of that into consideration, staff does recommend that $25,000 be reallocated to emergency rehab within the CDBG budget.
Thank you, Mr. Dudley. You've heard the recommendation. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to make an amendment.
Chair recognizes Councilmember Call.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to make an amendment, and that amendment is to allow for the $25,000 to be granted to the Florence County Leatherman Center Senior Citizens Building Association. Excuse me, Florence County Leatherman Center Association. Senior Citizens Association. Excuse me, I should have wrote that down.
Okay. So your motion is to have the $25,000 be allocated to the Florence County
Florence County Senior Citizens Association. Yeah, there you go.
Senior Citizens Association.
That's
All right.
the Meals on Wheels program.
Yes.
All right, so
I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second to amend the amendment. Do we have any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion to amend, and we have a second to amend. So
Not discussion.
you want to discuss the amendment before we?
Oh,
Which
okay.
one?
All right. Either way.
So we're gonna go ahead and let's
Do the amendment
vote on the
first.
amendment.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, so the amendment is now that the $25,000 be allocated to the Florence County Senior Association program for Meals on Wheels. All right, so this is the amendment. Okay, all those in,
Discussion.
well, we voted on it,
The amendment.
and we voted on the amendment, so it's now amended. All right, any discussion on the amended amendment?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, thank you, Madam Mayor. And this here is just for $25,000 to be allocated to the Florence County Senior Citizens Association. They originally requested $52,000 out of the community services budget, but we have over $800,000 in requests, so we're not able to meet that need. However, because this is some extra dollars that was allocated, thought it would be best to, because I think it's over 190 homebound seniors who are not able to afford a meal, and this program is beneficial. And again, we can't get it out of the community services budget, so I thought it'd be appropriate to bring it out of the community development block grant.
The Meals on Wheels, right?
The Meals on Wheels program, yep.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Does the city manager have any questions? or
Yes,
comments?
Madam Mayor, I just want to make a couple points with the $25,000 there. We will require that those dollars, because it's CDBG Community Development Block Grant, and these are federal dollars, they would have to be expended in the city of Florence there. And it's my understanding that it'll be a part of the Meals on Wheels, so we'll ensure that lower mod income citizens will be the recipients of those meals in the city of Florence, particularly in our CDBG targeted area.
Got it.
So in allocating these funds to the Senior Association program for Meals on Wheels, they would have to present information to actually draw that money from the city for the city residents.
That is correct, and it would be reimbursement. CDBG dollars are reimbursable there.
And so as they're, it's almost like a drawdown system. In other words, they're providing services and they have to present their information to invoices so they can pull money from that $25,000. Because there are specific guidelines when you're dealing with community development grant money.
That is correct.
So that is why when it comes to that, we have to do it that way to be in the guidelines of the federal guidelines. So this is not city guidelines. These are federal in order to meet the need for those federal funds. At this time, Chair recognizes Councilwoman E. Smith Jackson.
So before we give it to them or it gets reimbursed to them, they would have to show that they serviced X amount of people within the city of Florence. Is that what it is?
That is correct.
Okay.
And why that is so significant, everyone should realize that the city of Florence is a part of the county of Florence. And so with the Meals on Wheels program, this program serves the whole of the county. So there are funds that will come through even from the county allocations. So when it comes to the city part of it, these funds that we receive from the Community Development Block Grant is actually specified that you have to utilize them in those particular areas, which is usually District 1 and District 2. So that is why it's so significant that we make this plain, that even if they do not utilize all these funds, those funds will still remain with the city because these are Community Development Block Grant monies. Any discussions, any questions? So we have the amendment motion as read. All those in favor, if that concludes discussion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let it reflect that the resolution number 2024 as amended, number 19, has passed reading. So next we have resolution number 2024-20. It's a resolution certifying buildings as an abandoned building site pursuant to the South Carolina Abandoned Building Revitalization Act, section number 12-67-100 of the South Carolina Codes of Law, as amended, regarding the property located at 189 Warley Street, identified as Florence County Tax Map number 90074-03-012. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
So we have a motion and second. Any discussion?
Yes.
At this time, we're going to ask, before we ask any question, we'll ask Mr. Moore to please give us some information, and then we'll pursue it.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is a request for the City of Florence to certify the building located at 189 Warley Street as being abandoned. This requires at least 66% of the building to have been abandoned for a minimum of 5 years. And based upon our research and the applicant's information, we were able to certify that. Again, this property is located here on the corner of Warley and Chevis. And in order for the developer to take advantage of the state tax incentives with the abandoned building tax credit, they have to get one part of that step is to receive this certification through the city. They will then move forward in working with the state to get the tax credits and then the funding through that. And this concludes staff's report.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman E. Smith Jackson.
I want to make sure, because when I was looking at the agenda, it says 189 Warley Street, but then on page 3, it referenced 161 North Court Street with the same parcel number.
It is 189. We will make that amendment.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure it was, and we weren't talking about two different properties.
We are not.
Okay.
Chair recognizes Councilman Jabali.
Clint, just to be sure that we understand, when you reference this is a state program, is that correct?
That's correct.
And it's administered through the state, it just has to get approved by us?
That's right. We go through this certification, pass the resolution, and then during that process, they submit that to the state.
The end result is that the developer is going to rehab this property, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's not like a tear down of an abandoned property or anything like that. This is a taking the existing property and bringing it up and trying to bring it back to life.
Yes, but it can be used for, the state does allow for demolition of the property too. But in this
particular instance, it's a rehab, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that resolution number 2024-2021 has passed. Next, we have resolution number 2024-2022. It's a resolution authorizing and approving the acceptance of longer system monies from the South Carolina Water Quality Revolving Fund authorities and other matters related thereto. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. At this time, we'll hear from Mr. Moore. He's
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and Council. This resolution is in response to the $500,000 grant that the city received from the State Revolving Fund a couple of months ago. And we just getting the documentation received that from the state for the resolution. That way we can get refunded for those particular dollars as we do the PFAS study at our surface water facility that would determine the treatment process that'll be constructed to meet the new EPA requirement as relates to PFAS.
any discussion or questions?
Yeah. Okay,
Chair
my
recognizes
question.
Ms. Smith Jackson. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question was, because when I was reading this, and it says that we can't do certain things, how long does this agreement last? Are we giving them total control? I mean, is it during a certain period of time? How does that work?
No, ma'am, this is a study. So the study's already started. We'll complete the study in December of this year, and then the final report will come out early next year. So as to cover the expense of the study, the state is giving us those funds to cover the entire study expense. So the study's approximately $500,000, and those dollars won't come from the city budget. It'll all come out of state funding to cover everything.
Got it.
Any discussion here? None. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, like sign. Thank you, Ms. Hemingway. Next, we have resolution number 2024-2021. It's a resolution for the Municipal State Highway Project Amendment with the South Carolina Department of Transportation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? At this time, we'll hear from Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This is a resolution for the City of Florence to enter into a municipal state highway project agreement with DOT. This is, a number of years ago, DOT passed or the state passed an act that permitted for reimbursement to different utilities. Depending on your size, you received a certain percentage. We are one of the larger sizes, so we get a little less of the percentage of the overall project budget. However, a part of that is in receiving those funds, they will also essentially manage the relocation of those utilities for us. So we do not go into contract with anyone. DOT project manages that. And what it does is allows for the state to be more hands-on, and instead of having to work through us in complementary with the contractor that they have on board for their road improvements, that's all under one house. So now we are not left out of that equation. We are out there for inspections and everything that we typically would do with relocations. But what this does is allows them to manage that project for us and reimburse us those funds for that relocation.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that the resolution number 2024-2021 has passed at this time. Next, we have resolution number 2024-2023. It's a resolution to declare May 5th through 11, 2024 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week in the City of Florence.
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll look to Ms. Pope to please give us a reading.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Resolution 2024-23 is a resolution to declare May 5th through 11th, 2024 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week in Florence, South Carolina, to recognize and honor the valuable contributions that municipal clerks make to cities and towns in South Carolina. Whereas the position of municipal clerk is the only municipal staff role that is required by state law, regardless of municipality size or form of government, and whereas all 271 cities and towns in the state are required to have a municipal clerk, and whereas Casey Moore plays a critical role and is a trusted resource in support of the mayor, city council, the city manager, and city staff, And whereas municipal clerk's responsibilities under state law include giving notice of meetings to council members and the public, keeping minutes of its proceedings, and performing other duties in support of the city of Florence. And whereas the responsibilities of municipal clerks have expanded over time and the position is a lead role within the municipality. And whereas municipal clerks obtain their professional training through the South Carolina Municipal Finance Officers, Clerks and Treasurers Association, an affiliate organization of the Municipal Association of South Carolina. And whereas Casey Moore will complete this professional training in the spring of 2025, and now therefore be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Florence declares May 5th through the 11th, 2024, as Professional Municipal Clerks Week in Florence, South Carolina, to recognize and honor the valuable contributions that Casey Moore makes to our city. Resolved this 13th day of May, 2024.
You've heard the reading, you have heard the reading of the resolution. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. At this time, I'm going to ask that Ms. Moore please come down.
Say some
I know
words.
she hates
Make
it,
us
but
say some words.
Speech.
Casey.
I have very few words. I appreciate you guys doing this, and I really appreciate it. And I was not expecting to have to say anything because I like to sit in my little spot. But I appreciate it. Thank you, Amanda and Scotty. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I would like to acknowledge that Casey's so faithful in what she does, and she doesn't do it for attention. She does it consistently. She helps to keep everybody organized, and she likes to be in the background. So yes, that was a moment of pure service for her to get up here and talk to us. So, but Casey, thank you for what you do for all of us every day. We truly appreciate you. Next, we have resolution number 2024-24, and it's a resolution of the City Council approving of the downtown redevelopment grants for the fourth quarter of 2024. This item, if there's no objection, will be taken up in executive session. Next, we will have resolution number 2024-25, and with this resolution, it was a resolution approving an amendment for the conditional grants and development agreement for dated May the 31st, 2020 between the City of Florence and Sticks Florence Land, LLC, but the staff has requested at this time that this be deferred. So if there's no objection, this will be deferred. Next, we will have report to councils, and at this time, we will have appointments to boards and commission. We'll call forth our city manager, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one opening on our boards and commissions. That is our Parks Commission. That falls to Councilman Jabali.
Defer.
Thank you.
And Madam Mayor, I'll also just mention, as we're talking about parks, as a part of the budget, we are creating a new department with our Parks Recreation and Tourism. That is in your packets there. So we will have a new director in that position.
All right. Thank you. So at this time, we will have a report on the auditing services contract for the City of Florence. Mr. Kevin Rollinson.
Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon.
This came about, I was made aware that the contract with Birch Oxner Seal, who's been under contract for the last 5 years, that contract expired with the last audit. And talking with the partner at Birch Oxner Seal, because of the change in the model of their business, they will not be bidding on the contract at this time. So we're asking for a 1-year contract to be assigned to Malden and Jenkins CPA firm. It is within the authority of this council to do so without a bid, and we will prepare and send out in January a bid for an additional 5-year contract for the interested CPA firms to bid on the contract at that time.
Thank you. At this time, do we require any action of the council?
Yes, you will need, we'll need a motion to accept that and a positive vote.
You've heard the report from Mr. Rollison. What is your position?
Yeah, not Your Honor, excuse me. Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the recommendation provided by Mr. Kevin Rollison that we use
Malden and Jenkins LLP.
Malden and Jenkins as our auditing services for 1 year.
For 1 year, for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that the motion has carried. Thank you. So at this time, proceeding in our agenda, next we have the mayor's report. I have a brief report for you this month. I do want to recognize and acknowledge that past week we celebrated Teachers Appreciation Week, and I did have the honor of going out to Dewey L. Carter and celebrating with them and actually getting to sing happy birthday to the school nurse there. And during the same time period, we also had the National Nurses Week, and I've had the honor to go before MUSC for their Nurses Appreciation and celebrate it with them. And so that was an honor to be a part of both celebrations. And I'm also a nurse, so this June, this year, I'm celebrating 43 years with nursing. And also, I would like to announce that on May 16th, that we have partnered through the Mayor's Youth Initiative, along with Samaritan Feet and Duke Energy. On May the 16th, we will be providing children shoes or tennises for all the children from the 1st through the 3rd grade at North Vista Elementary School. So that's 1st through 3rd grade. Every child will be receiving a new pair of sneakers. And this came about that we'd partnered with the Samaritan Feet earlier this year along through the girls' hoop basketball event that we had at Wilson. They wanted to come forth and do some additional service here. So North Vista was one of the schools that was chosen locally. This year it's going to be 1st through 3rd grade. The next adventure is looking forward to the possibility to doing all the children 1st through the 5th grade. And I would like to say thank you to Samaritan Feet, but a special thank you to Duke Energy too as well, who also gave a large donation. And that will take place on May the 16th, but this is Thursday. We do have volunteers, and also if you want to go online to Samaritan Feet or Mayor's Youth Initiative, you can also still volunteer to give out shoes. But you know, with the school system, there will be a check that you would have to go through to make sure you can be on the campus. And also, I do want to remind us that in July the 13th, we'll be celebrating the 2nd annual PD Youth Day. That will take place from 10 o'clock to 2. And with this event, we have various organizations who will be coming together along with the Mayor's Youth Initiative, which will be over 18 partners who will come together to provide resources to all communities throughout the PD. It's a joint action. We do have representative, the mayor from Lake City, Mayor Robinson, as well as council members from the Marys and Mullen area, also representative from Darlington, South Carolina. But also this year, we're honored to have a part of the fellowship that will be coming from the Columbia area, which is a partnership through Furman. It's a leadership program that I have the honor of serving with. But the organization there has come together in order to bring some workshop for mentorship, also things to talk to males and females by bringing them together. So it's going to be a wonderful event. Last year it was very successful. As I stated, there was over 300 attendance. After 300, we even cut off worrying about registering. I would like to thank Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson for her support last year, and also her son, Drasan, who's also that Harvard-bound young man who will be celebrating this month. He's also was an ambassador for the Mayor's Youth Initiative PD Day. So the organizations and the teams who have come together, the partnership, have already affected so many young people's lives, and we're looking forward to that as well. So once again, those are the major things that you will see coming forth from the Mayor's Youth Initiative and the PD Youth Day, and also with Samaritan Feet. And congratulations once again, and thank you to all of our teachers for what they do, and the ones who have done so much to make sure we're all educated here. And thank you to all the nurses who make sacrifices for us 24/7 throughout the year. We appreciate you. That concludes my report today. And next we will move forward with our committee reports. Next we'll hear from the chair from the Public Development Committee. Excuse me, y'all, Business Development.
Thank you. The Business Development Committee met April the 18th, and we had myself, Councilman Barnes as well as Councilman Braddock, along with Clint Moore and Michael Hemingway. We reviewed a lot of ongoing projects that the city's working on, the grants that were projects that were funded, the Levy Park, which I think, as I understand, we're still waiting on formal word from the feds, although we've gotten preliminary word. We have not gotten the formal document yet from the Parks, the U.S. Parks Office, National Parks Office, waiting on that. But then we also talked about grants for the Fire Station number 2 generator, as well as High Hill, the Run Trail extension, and what's going on over there with the trail park. So getting these grants is great. It keeps things moving. One of the things that we talked about with regard to the Levy Park project was giving special appreciation and recognition to Representative Philip Lowe as well as Representative Terry Alexander for their work in the state last year in getting us $2.75 million that was used for the city's grant, our portion of that match towards the $18 million. That went a long way towards our $3 million match. So thank you to the two of them for their hard work in Columbia. We then talked about the stormwater capital projects that are ongoing, Cedar and McQueen, Pennsylvania Avenue, North Church and Oakland, all of which is made possible through the $7 million bond that we generated here as a result of the 50-cent increase that was voted on back in '21. So those, and then with that $7 million that we had, we were able to get another $11 million, is that right? For a total of matching grant money that we were able to access because we had that $7 million, for a total of $18 million that we're using to do these very critical infrastructure improvements, stormwater improvements. So thank you to the city team that's managing that and pushing those projects through. Of course, getting the hiring the contractors to do it is a lengthy process, ongoing, and I know at times, Michael, it's very frustrating for you, but slowly but surely those projects are getting funded and getting put in place. So thanks for all that y'all do on that. We also talked about the Carolina Theater, the parking deck, as well as some other projects going on with regard to the development that's happening. And one other thing I just want to comment on that was held last week, the work of the Business Development Committee, we've been very focused on all of our corridors throughout, whether it's the East Palmetto corridor, the Lucas Street corridor, the Irby Street corridor, Oakland Avenue corridor. So all of these different corridors coming in and out of town, we've been very focused on those. And there was a workshop that was held last week with regard to the Lucas Street corridor. And that was done, the initial workshop that looked at trying to say, where are we with the Lucas Street corridor? What are the hopes that we hope to have? And as I understand, after this first visioning process that was held, Mr. City Manager, Scotty, am I correct that we'll be getting updates to the Business Development Committee meeting in the future, and we'll be able to continue to report on that?
That is correct.
All righty, thank you. So we look forward to hearing from the Business Development Committee. Looks forward to getting more feedback on this as we move forward with all these different corridor projects in our community. And I would ask Councilman Barnes or Councilman Braddock if y'all have anything you'd like to add to that.
Thank you for that report, and I do want to have the city manager, so any other statements you want to say about that public hearing and the format for what we're proceeding with that Lucas Street, the format for that, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. As discussed, we've been working on looking at our corridors, and particularly now Lucas Street there. We've met with a number of the property owners in and around that area. As mentioned, we're at the meeting on the 9th. We do have other meetings that are scheduled, and I have staff, Assistant Manager Moore and our Director of Planning, Dudley, working on that process. We will be bringing forth that information to council and the public as well to talk about all of our corridor improvements, but particularly on that Lucas Street there. How can we best utilize that area there to ensure that all of our gateways are better maintained and managed?
All right, and also just with that report for the Lucas Street, there's also was a meeting that occurred last week that was really a Zoom with Florence Economic Development Partnership with the Palmetto corridor as well. And that corridor we know predominantly is in the county, but just so they know that that's with the county, but you can pretty well start looking online because that corridor improvement will take place from right where the old hotel is located, and it will extend all the way out to Francis Marion University. Yes. And so so also keep your eyes upon that. I know they've already started with some designs. I'm not sure how soon those would be on to the public. I know they've got to go before the county council as well.
That is true.
So there will be some changes there, improvements that we can look forward to seeing. Is there anything else that you want to report on the corridor improvement?
That's all.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So at this time, we'll move forward with a report from the Community Development Committee. We will call upon that chair, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Present in the meeting was myself and Shaquez McCall. We had Michelle Morgan present from our Building Florence Together, and we are super excited. This plan that we set forth was a 5-year plan of giving $1.2 million to our communities. And we are so excited that they're well on their way. They are, I can't remember the number of homes that they already have that we've purchased and we're fixing up and putting back into the community. We are looking at home ownership. Home ownership really helps us solve some problems. They're more invested in the community. Ann Brown was also present, and the rehabs and weatherizations that they are doing, also demolitions that they are doing. They're doing a phenomenal job in helping to bring about a change in those areas. We also talked about some of the things in our communities. We've got wish lists. We've got, of course, we already talked about the crime, but it is our job to work on, because the police will address the immediate need, but we are looking on ways that as they work on the short-term solution, we've got to come up with some long-term goals for the police can't always be in the community around the parks. We've got to come up with some long-term solutions that will remedy our community and reduce the problem of crime. So we're going to continue to work on the wish list. Some of the wish lists, of course, we can't do, but I wish we could. But I think that's about it, unless I'm leaving something out. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that report. At this time, we hear from the chair from the Marketing and Public Relations Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Our biggest thing, of course, is our city bot, and it is well on its way. They have staff have just completed 2 weeks of testing the chat box, and they will be sending their feedback to CityBot to make the necessary updates. We are still on track to have the new chatbot in place late May or June. So that's coming up, guys. Mark your calendars. Hopefully we get there. Also on my biggest thing with the marketing and public relation committees is I want us to be an avenue to get education and communication out to our communities. Of course, bridge that communication gap is always my thing. So we're doing awareness campaigns. Right now we have the road safety campaign, and I'm going to encourage everybody to please share that throughout your social media. We have Amanda has done a great job in posting on our Facebook, City of Florence Facebook page and keeping us informed and educated. And I try to share that every chance I get to our public, because again, we have to bridge that gap of communication between the city and our communities. So also our city's website, the IT company is currently working on a refresh of the existing site to ensure the site is current with the trends and technology. Also, I want to say that we did a couple of resolutions and proclamations for May, but May is also Mental Health Awareness Month. And I want to make sure that our community is not suffering in silence. Please, 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 there is a way and there's places that you can go, but I ask everybody, mental health is a serious issue and we need to make sure that we are aware of anybody that's going through this. And I also want to thank the mayor for the proclamation. I had Miss Jerry Gardner send me an email, and I love my voters, so I knows I do. But she sent me an email about the awareness also about ALS, and which is also a Lou Gehrig's disease. So that is also an awareness, and I thank the mayor for doing that proclamation because she wanted a proclamation to really show the awareness for ALS as well. So I thank you, and I thank her thank Jerry for emailing me. Also, I want to give a shout out to my leadership, Florence, in the house. Thank you for coming. This month is our last month as leadership, Florence. So I'm gonna miss you, girl. I'm gonna miss us meeting, but also you guys continue to come to our city council meetings. And also, I want to encourage all departments to please get with the Public Relations and Marketing Committee if you have any information that you need to go out into the community, any awareness. Please let us know because we want to make sure that we get that out to our communities. All right, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, we'll hear from the Chair from the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Unfortunately, we were unable to meet this month due to some scheduling conflicts. However, we were advised of the auditing services contract by our CFO, Mr. Kevin Rollison. He spoke with each member of the Finance Committee and made us aware of the gap we had and the recommendations to bring to the council. And then secondly, I just want to also I don't know if we're still, I've been hearing a lot of good feedback now, of course, and that is to make sure everyone is aware of if you want to opt out of the Roundup program, that you can always opt out. Just want to make a final push here. We've been marketing it for the last 6 months now, and again, I think this is the first month that you will see it. Just want to make sure everyone is aware that you have the option to opt out. It's not mandatory. So again, just want to make that noted, and then that'll conclude my report.
That concludes the reports from the chairs of the committee. Next, we have.
With regard to that, I have a comment. I just want, with regard to the opt-out, I just want to say that I've had a number of different constituents who've come forward, and they have appreciated the work that we're doing for the Roundup program and the purpose of it, and have, they felt like the material that the city sent them was very helpful and informative, and so thank you to the city for that. But they also thanked council for our work, and I'm going to take my hat to you, Councilman McCall, for bringing it to us, because they felt like this was a very important thing for us to do for our fellow citizens, because there but for the grace of God go I. And so I just want to commend you for your leadership in bringing that to us, and in the support for that program, and also to the city for the way that the information was shared. Lots of good feedback from the community on that. So thanks to both y'all.
Thank you to the chairs for their report from their various committees. At this time, we'll move forward on our agenda to the executive session. For executive sessions, we have A, for a discussion on a matter related to economic development, project 30-4-7085. Next, B, we have a discussion of appointment to the city boards and commission, 30-4-7081. Then C, for an update on a matter related to economic development, project 30-4-78 and 5. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to go into executive session with the items. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We're going to executive session. We're back from executive session where no votes or action were taken. So at this time, we'll proceed to our agenda. And first on our executive session items were A, a discussion for a matter related to Economic Development Project 30-4-70A5. Do we have?
So moved.
So moved.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the resolution number 2020-24-24, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Our following items did not require any voter action, and at this time, we also just simply received the information. It was discussion in reference to the city boards and commission, and that was 30-4-70A1, and then we had C, was an update on a matter related to economic development project, 30-4-70A, and 5, no votes or action was taken on either. With those items being collected,
Move to adjourn.
Second it.
any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.